Yeah. And so the guy in the bridge, you think he'd open the gate anyway, because we want to get on the other side of the gate, right? No, we had to wait for Tom. So Tom got up again, he blew again. I think 2 times, he giggled twice, and finally he did give me a break. 3 seconds to blow in a horn, pause for a while, then blow 1 second. That's a big deal for like a kid who's 13 years old, who's never been on a boat like this. So anyway, the first drawbridge opened, we got through, and we went down the river, and then it was close to dark. We had no lights, okay? We had running lights. We couldn't see at night. We had a lantern, but we had no light. So anyway, so we got into the bay area near Lock, I think it is, on the steamboat slough. And late at night, we kind of ran up aground. And so the next morning, Tom was so tall. He's 6 foot, you can see my height. Oldie and I, we stayed in the front of the boat, which is called the hold of the boat. And we stayed in the hold of the boat because we were small. Tom could nowhere do that. He was too tall, so he stayed in the deck. He slept on the side of the deck in a sleeping bag. So one morning, we're asleep, and Tom had to get up and make water or take a pee. And so when we docked, we had no realize in the morning, we docked in a big fishing area. And he got up in the morning, and here's all these fishermen around, and he's doing his duty. All of us, he dropped into the deck, and he says, "Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed." So he hid until we left. Poor Tom. It was something hilarious. So anyway, so we stayed there for a while. We fished. It was great. So then it was time to come home. So we started to come home. It stopped one more time, and I can't remember the dock. But it was late at night, about 12 midnight. Some boat was coming down way too fast, and the waves of the boat took our boat and rolled it over on top of a barge. And the glass jug we had full of water broke. Only now in front, it got thrown on the side of the boat. Tom almost got thrown overboard. He got hit in the side. Lucky he did get hurt. But we didn't realize we suffered some pretty structural damage to the boat. We looked at it, we couldn't see anything, but we cracked a couple of portions and made actually lesions in the boat that would make a leak. So anyway, we didn't know all that. We're just kids, right? 10, 13, and 14 years old. So we continued home. We got to the Carquinez Bridge coming home, and the engine died. The engine, once again, 10 horsepower. The only way you can start it, you put a key in this big wheel. In fact, there's a replica of the engine over in a little cage over here by the other boat. You had to put a key into this 300-pound metal thing and get it going fast enough to start the engine. So it died on us. So we're wallowing in the water below Carquinez Bridge. So Coast Guard came out and towed us into the little station near the Carquinez Bridge. And I remember just like yesterday, the lieutenant, who must have been 19, he got Ole and he says, "Where are your flares?" Ole says, "We don't have any flares." He says, "Where's your fire extinguisher?" Ole says, "We don't have a fire extinguisher." He says, "Where are your life jackets?" Ole says, "We don't have any life jackets." So the guy says, "I'm sorry, we're impounding your boat." So here we are, boat's out running, we're stuck with the Coast Guard. So I had one phone call. So I called home, and it must have been probably 6 o'clock at night, because we were trying to get across the bay during daylight hours, because we had no lights, right? We had to see lights to get to someplace. And I told you my mom being 5'2", chino pants, cussed like a sailor. I have no idea what she told the lieutenant. All I know, in about 5 minutes, he got off the phone. There were life jackets thrown on the boat. We had flares on the boat. We had a fire extinguisher in the boat, and some guy fixed the leak. So I don't know what happened. I never found out what Mom told the guy. So anyway, so from there, we start heading home. It's dark, and so we didn't have a compass. If we had a compass, we knew to come west, right? So the Coast Guard guy said, "Just got to go this way." Well, he gave us the wrong information. Maybe that's because whatever Mom told him. So we were heading toward Vallejo. We were traversing the peninsula over there. So we had about 15 minutes from where we left. All of a sudden, the lights light up. And we were in the middle of a Navy ambitious, they were training for some sort of assault. There was a submarine, a cruiser, landing craft are right in the middle. And this loudspeaker, you are in a restricted area. And poor guy, we know what the world was going on. We're just scared to death. So finally they sent a boat over and saying, you guys can't be here. See all the equipment we have here, so you didn't have to go. So we finally said, look, we're trying to get home. We have to go toward Marin County. And the guy checked his compass and said, go that way, nighttime. So that time must have been 10, 11 o'clock at night, probably, something like that. Pitch dark. No running lights, no cell phone, nothing. So here we go, putt, 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 putt. We thought we're heading this way. So we get about, I don't know, 25 minutes, which meant we were maybe a couple, 3 miles at that speed. So all of us and my brother, who was a fisherman who had to get up early in the morning, my mom got his butt out of bed and he said, you got to find your younger brother. They're out somewhere in the bay and they're in trouble. Well, this bay is very quiet right now, but when nighttime at that time of year and the westerly wind, the waves got large. And if you've ever been in the ocean, the waves are big, but they're way spread apart. Here, they're very close and large. So not only were we coming home, we were tired, the boat was leaking, Ole was pumping, we wanted to get home. All of a sudden, all these boats on top of the mast, there was a little running light, about the size of a Christmas tree light. So my brother must have saw us, I don't know how in the world he did. Anyway, he got behind us, and Ole said, there's a sub following us. You know. So our boat are going put, 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 put. That was about 3 miles an hour. The fastest would go maybe 5. So, and by the way, all the controls, by the way, wasn't at where the cabin was. You did it by stick. We had a stick from the back, was a fishing boat. We took a stick and we kind of reached up there. We thought we might go as fast as it goes. And meanwhile, this one-cylinder engine that just pounded was going boom, boom, boom. And the waves were coming over the bow, and Ole was pumping, and here we thought the submarine was chasing us. Well, my brother had a faster boat. Thank God he came up and he got alongside, and there was a few choice words between my brother and me, and so we followed him home here. So we got back here, I want to say 5 o'clock in the morning. My mom had breakfast for us. My mom, what a wonderful woman. Anyway, she had breakfast for us. Tom and Ole and I went to bed, got up the next morning, the boat had sunk. Boat had sunk. And there was all this stuff, and that's kind of like the end of the story. Once again, I introduced my thank you. Introduced my 2 dear, my extra children, Christy and Michael, and my cousin Georgette, my niece Wendy, my sister-in-law Carol Quan. So give them all hands. Okay. Any questions I can ask? Anything about China Camp? I can answer anything.
Yes.
Yes.
Was there a school here?
What's that?
Was there a school here?
No, there was a school about 4 miles that way. Once, one room school, about 20 students. Any other questions?
Where did the shrimp go? When you were, what part of the bay were the shrimp?
There,
You went out-
actually, it's amazing. The Hamilton Field used to have a very active Air Force base here, and their flight pattern, right below the flight pattern, was where all the shrimp were, and it was about maybe 3 miles out, and they would troll out there, and the shrimp were in abundance. And once again, the big shrimp stayed here, and we picked those, and they went to market. The small shrimp ended up in China.
So when did they shrimp it out? When did they stop shrimping?
Well, at the water, there's a big controversy even today of the water mix between the salt water and the fresh water. Shrimp are saltwater animals, so they need salt water, and there's a lot of fresh water coming down. And like the biggest would be teeming the fish. I mean, you could go off the pier. I remember catching salmon off this pier and striped bass off this pier, but there's no more salt water, so the fish don't go this far to feed.
Is that because they just released that much more water in Sacramento?
Yeah, it has to be. That must be the reason. If the water quality has changed.
What was a typical daily harvest of shrimp when it was good?
Each boat would bring in about 400 or 500 pounds each boat. And there was about 5 boats. Depending on the tide, they could go twice a day. This place was hopping, believe me. I mean, there are no grandpas here, but some of these grandpas would come down, get a bag of shrimp for 18 cents, grab a beer from the store. Where a better place to stand over there, have some shrimp and drink a beer. That is heaven. This shrimp tasted so good. I mean, they were cooked in fresh water. Dad would add several scoops of rock salt. They were amazing. Any other questions?
Were you here when they built the missile sites?
What's that?
Were you here when they built the missile sites on the top?
There was a missile site over there, yes.
Yeah, and so how did that affect you guys? Like, was a lot of commotion? I'm just curious. Or was that?
No. In fact, my cousin and my sister, there was a flirting going on between the guys there and them. She won't admit that, but I remember that. Because I remember mom and dad, go get your sister. You know, so I had to go up the hill and get my sister and my cousin because they were spending time with the recruits up there. Someone else had a question.
What'd you do about wild animals trying to get at the shrimp at night?
There were a few. Raccoons were a big deal here. There weren't too many deers, I remember, but I guess they must have eaten a few. I don't remember a whole bunch, but I do remember a lot of raccoons here.
How did you sell your shrimp? Were there buyers that would come and pick it up?
That's a good question. The shrimp, 500 pounds each boat, so that was a couple of tons probably per day. We'd cook the shrimp. About a third of them were the size we could actually pick and make a meat out of it. The other 2/3 became feed to go to China. So the 1/3 we'd actually peel, or we would take them to Chinatown where they had rows and rows of people picking shrimp, and they end up at Fisherman's Wharf or wherever. It was shrimp cocktails, man, was a delicacy. Just incredible. Questions? Yes.
Why did they name this Chinatown?
You know, obviously, there was a lot of Asians here. If some of you are historians, you'll look at some of the history of Chinatown. As I was told, in 1870, my granddad, I'm talking about granddad, my granddad settled here. And when he settled here, I guess there was a big exclusion act in San Francisco, and the poor Asian people were basically kind of chased out. My granddad housed over 500 Asians here, and he got jobs for the rails and whatever. So and I think that's probably became a China camp, you know. I'm being told that one of my relatives named it China camp, but I'm not sure of that. Any other questions?
Yeah, how many people at the peak of...
As I was told, at the peak here, about 600 people at the peak, and they were, my mom used to tell me that I guess there were some inspectors from the government would come here to verify for tax reasons or whatever, or historical reasons. And she said this building here is only one building. There used to be 2 more buildings and 2 more buildings, and they all had pillars. So all the Asian people would hide under here or hide in the bushes. So she said around 500 or 600 people. And my family, there were 8 of us, and we stayed here forever till my poor brother passed in 90. Any other questions?
Yeah, so you said at one point here, you said it was hopping with shrimp. When did that all stop? Or is there still shrimp here? Or
No, the water has changed. I guess shrimp like salt water. I read that they're catching some of the fish that used to be here when I was a kid down a little further toward the Golden Gate. So maybe there's shrimp there. I don't know. Salt water.
So it's just the water has changed.
Yeah. And I sure with the technology now, they could probably find a better shrimp or something like that.
Yeah.
So, any other questions? Hey, it was so much fun. I mean, I could make this for 2 hours or 3 hours. Just think about a young man living here, of having all this fun, was a mom. Well, I could tell you, Mom was so busy in the store. I mean, just a large group. This group here was here every weekend. Gifts to the group. And so at the end of the pier, I went out and I was 5 years old, maybe 6. Went in the pier and I fell in the water. And thank God the Coast Guard was busy because I would have drowned. And so after that, there used to be a tree that's gone there now. There was a tree right by the gas pump. She used to tie me to the tree when she worked. And so, because I used to run around.
Did you make your own rental boats?
I was asked that question yesterday. There were 60 boats here. My dad bought most of the boats. There was up on the river, I think it was a place called Frank's Track. A guy went out of business and he had a bunch of rental boats. And I know one time that when I was a kid, he came back with a big long string of boats. And I think most of the boats were built there. I don't think any were built here. I know the current boats, John Muir, who's the curator at the Maritime Museum, and John Muir is a grandson of John Muir. He has built several boats here that he brings here every so often. In fact, the junk you see here, he built it from the wood down the road here, down the beach here. The junk you see running around?
In the water.
What's that?
Not running around, it's in the water.
Oh, it's in the water right now?
Floating around.
Floating around. Anyway, yeah, so hopefully we do this next year. We'll talk about something different. Maybe it's a walking tour. We can talk about all the buildings and what's going on. But it's been fun for me. Thank you for coming.
If you guys want to see pictures of what this used to look like, and Milton as a little boy, there's a binder at the Marine History Museum table and awning right back here on the other side that you can look through. Pretty cool.
Yeah, some strapping, muscular little boy.
You almost drowned.
Yeah, almost drowned.
They got it tied to a tree. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I was curious, how did you get to school?
Mom would drop me off to school and I'd walk home.